Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Geary, Stein, and Stevens show. I'm Dave Stevens, and of course, we're going to end this week with a superstar. But let me bring in my other superstar, my co-host, Troy Geary. Of course, Will is still on assignment. But Troy, how is Minnesota today?
It's a little rainy day, but I'm excited for this show. It'll brighten up my day. So,
Yeah, it will brighten up our day. And we have our guest today is a guy that is a football legend as far as a coaching guy. He's been in the NFL, and now he is the head coach of Grambling State. He's taken this team. It's the first year he's been there. I'm really excited to see what he's got going on down there. So, Coach Hue Jackson joining us from just after practice, I understand, as we watch a little bit. So, Coach, thanks for joining us today. And how is it going first year in the program?
Oh, it's hard. We are in the and right at the end of training camp, really, and it's guys have really grown. I can see from spring to now where our team has gotten football staff really excited about the season that we're about to embark on.
And this is your first year, and people are going to say, hey, the history, strong history, but for you, right out of the gate, everybody's going to try to compare you fairly, unfairly to a legend that really, is a household name in the world of college football.
Anytime you step into the shoes where the great Eddie G. Robinson was the head coach, I was with it, and I understood that when I took the job. I don't run from that. I'm excited about it. Be back and restore the tradition and everything that he built here would be so coaching. So that's what we're trying to accomplish, and that's what we're going to get done.
Well, we appreciate you stopping by today, and give us a little bit of a perspective of how that history was, and and continuing that great tradition. Some great names that have been a part of Grambling State throughout the years. Doug Williams, Troy, kick it off out of the gate.
okay, I will have a question from your past here. When you were Cincinnati Bengals wide receivers coach, you had arguably one of the first prolific wide receiver duos in Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, and DJ Husmanzada. Just talk about how much fun it was coaching those during your 3 years as a wide receivers coach. Of course, you had them later on, but can you just talk about how much fun it was for those guys and their development when you were there?
It was spectacular. Obviously, it was my second opportunity in the National Football League to coach a personality like Chad Ocho Cinco and TJ Hushman's same college from Oregon State into the National Football League together. Chad had established who he was, and TJ was trying to get it. We just kind of cleaned the slate, started over, and TJ became a household name but it was great coaching them, great time in my career, and boy, what great young men they are.
And as you've been in this league, in the NFL and in college, what do you find now that you're coming back into college that might be the biggest difference between college and professional football?
Dave, there's a big difference because the big difference today is transfer portal that you have to deal with. That's totally different than when I coached in college. There's these NIL deals that you deal with for the student athletes for the name, image, and likeness. That's different. Being here at Grambling State University, we have 63 students, where the Power 5 schools have 85. So you have to understand how to make those things in order to put the best program out there.
Speaking of NILs and transfer portals, Grambling State was one of the forefront for the NIL deals and historic of having every student scholarship athlete get a deal. You also have brought in some great transfers. Maurice Washington from Nebraska, Devin Bush, to name a few. So, how excited are you for that part and the NIL deals for these student athletes? And helping them out that way also.
Student athletes for men and women. So I think that is special. I think the university anything to do with it, but the way it's set up, it really benefits our student athletes to really scale this as they start to move forward. I think that's spectacular for the student athletes that we brought in, guys who have transferred in, as you mentioned, Maurice Washington, Dev, of others. My goal was to change the culture of the program, and I truly believe that you either got to get people to see things the way you do, or you're not. Then you have to change people. We were able to do that. Not that the other people here didn't deserve to be here, but as to exactly what we were looking for. So we're on that march right now. We start action, and now we just got to keep going.
Coach, we had Lee Steinberg on last week, and we got to some pretty big core issues. And again, without getting into a lot of the nuances, we just discussed the Rooney Rule, and we talked about the opportunities for Black coaches and things like that in the NFL. And I'm not a math major, and and Troy can probably back me up. I'm not a math major, but if in the last 30 years, let's say it's 65, and I'm just throwing this out there, that 65 to 70% of your athletes that are playing college and professional football are African American, why aren't we here 30 years later with the majority of them coaching? Like, I just don't understand what has got to change. You have this rule, nobody uses it. So how's it going to get better, considering the African-American athletes are the ones that are playing and they're not getting those coaching opportunities?
First of all, Dave, I just want to thank you personally, being an advocate for that why isn't there more minority head coach in the college game or the National Football League? I know in the National Football League, I think they're up to 23 like that, and it's been a 102-year history of the league. So that tells you there's a problem. You understand the problem. You got to go back to the beginning of where it all started. And so not really a part of the National Football League when it started. I mean, they get an injunction, but I think it was 40 years after that there was a minority head coach. I mean, it just goes. So here's a Rooney Rule that they're saying that they want people to interview, not hire minority candidates. And I think what people don't understand is that Rooney Rule is not ratified National Football League constitutions and bylaws. So if it's not something that's really real, then people are not going to really take it very seriously. And I think that's just
it's I think something that we discuss and rapidly need some changes. But I'm hoping the successes with you and Dion and all these guys can let these young guys. You're still young, and I don't understand why that's not transitioning, because as we see, there are successful African American coaches at all levels, and it's got to get better. It's got to get better. Troy, what are your thoughts?
It does.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we talked to Lee about that, and we talked about what more can be done, and he said it starts at the college level, and trying to improve and change the rules so it's not just a formality.
That's right. And so, Coach, now you get to give these opportunities to athletes and coaches. I mean, why is it your job to help enrich these athletes that become coaches when they transition?
I think it's a great way, and really helping the coaches who will come after me also understand the things they need to look for, because they deserve an opportunity at the highest. I've done it twice in the National Football League and now in college. I've been through sit in those hard meetings and had those tough conversations. And I just like for guys who have goals to become head coaches to have that chance. But there's a lot that go into it. And I think we need to be prepared and be ready, and make sure that we're the right opportunity, and make sure that we're not putting ourselves in situations where we can't have success. I think the other side of it, I think the owners and I think the athletic directors need to get to particular potential head coaches on a different level, so that they can get to know them. This coach that coached at this school, or this coach that coached in this organization, because there's just that person. That person has to lead. That person has to have relationships with people within the organization, have relationships with people outside the organization. So I just think it's both sides of the fence together and collaborate and align things the right way. So more minority people.
In 2000, you and your wife Michelle started the Hue Jackson Foundation to combat human trafficking. That's been a global problem crisis. Can you talk about how it made you start that foundation, and how can people help with education and action to change and make that where we don't have to talk about that as much?
Well, I've seen it firsthand. Know exactly what has to families, friends, people who are involved in it. It's really a deal against humanity. Obviously, the situation that people are trafficked is just sickening just to think of that. But we know it goes business. It happens everywhere. There's no place that it says, okay, it won't happen. Families, it can happen around the corner, it can happen down the street. So I think it's so important that you educate people, understand the signs of human trafficking, so that we can help combat, So it's something that's near and dear to my heart, always will be. An Army in Cleveland, we help provide the residents for human trafficking, give them a safe place, a place where they can go and hopefully get away from the mainstream and to be able to get back to the mainstream in a different way.
Well, it really is. It's a great thing, and I know we talked about the Super Bowl and things like that. What a problem is. So thank you for continuing to champion that cause. It really is awesome, Coach. So thank you. And we're going to take a quick break. We got to pay some bills and get some of our sponsors out there. So don't go away, because we've got Coach coming up for some surprises for him coming up in the next segment. This is Geary, Stein, and Stevens that you're watching.
Hi again, everybody. Dave Stevens here for Manscaped. And what you see on the outside isn't always what you get down below. And what's the best way to get rid of all this unwanted stuff below the waist? By using the complete line of Manscaped products to get rid of all that unwanted, unsightly hair from down below. That's because Manscaped has come out with the Performance Package 4.0. Inside this set, you'll find their Lawnmower Waterproof 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker Ear, Nose, and Hair Trimmer, Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Toner, Performance Boxer Briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. So, if you want to get rid of this, or you can look like this, thanks to these amazing Manscaped products. And if you check out now and enter the code GSS Show, you save 20%. So go to manscaped.com, your boys will thank you, and the significant others in your life will be happy too.
Would you like 20% off the world's softest, comfiest, best-fitting men's clothes? Well, Fresh Clean Threads has your back and your front and your sides with everything from tees to tanks, Henleys, polos, pullovers, and hoodies. Get designer quality basics without paying ridiculous designer prices. Everyone deserves to look good and feel great. Confidence shouldn't cost a fortune. Go to freshcleanthreads.com. Use our code GSS Show for 20% off of your order. So if you want to look good in these shirts, just utilize these codes, and we're going to bring in our guests back in, Coach Hue Jackson. And while I'm plugging all of our sponsors and everything like that, I got to bring in a couple of things that I want to sponsor for you. See, so we got this amazing tequila product that I have seen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so it's Grand Leyenda Tequila. Tell us a little bit about that and why it's so good and why people should try it.
Absolutely. It's 100% USDA, so it's made in the Highlands in Jalisco. I think it's the best tequila in the world. And the thing is, it's organic, and people know that there's not very many in the spirit game. All of them are normally downers, but the tequila family is definitely has some tremendous benefits, especially for people who deal with diabetes from a medical standpoint, because it's so natural, and ours, like I say, it's organic. So don't panic.
And speaking of, if you're going to drink, you got to feel warm. So you're going to need to put on, I would think, some clothing and maybe bear clothing from the apparel line that you've got going out there, bearclothing.org. And again, some great hats. If you look, you see Mike Trout and I wearing your hats
Oh,
and
wow.
the shirts. And again, all going to charity. But again, why are you doing these kind of things, Coach?
I think it's so important to create the right brand for where you are, and you know that I can to help assist our student athletes. Every dollar that I'm going to get is truly a university. I think, David, I hate to say it this way, we're not the Power 5 schools that everybody else does. So I'm going to do any and everything I can to help our student athletes. Number one, I think they need to be successful, create the right environments for them, whether it's nutrition, whether it's recovery. I'm trying to do any and everything I can to help these young men have an unbelievable. So in order to do that, it takes dollars. So I'm willing to do any and everything I can to make money right here in this facility so that our players can have the best of the best.
Yeah, those Hue shirts look sharp, so I'll definitely be picking up one. A lot of people don't know that you were a running backs coach at Arizona State, 92 to 95. Yeah, Jake Plummer and Pat Tillman. Do you have a Pat Tillman story you'd like to share with us?
I do. My greatest came to Arizona State. He made it known that he was only going to be there for 4 years. He was going to play as a freshman, continue to play, and play extremely well. And that's exactly. Just when you meet him, you just knew his passion for whatever he was going to do. So he's going to be a successful student. He's going to be a successful football player, husband, father. He was going to be good at it. And that's exactly who Pat Tillman was.
He was an amazing dynamic man to this day. They still talk about him. And, Coach, I know you were in the NFL and people, they might look at the record. But again, you got there. You are a coach that has been an NFL head coach. And again, a Black African-American, which, again, those numbers are still really low. Dick Vermeil was talking about there's 28 NFL head coaches in the Hall of Fame. But, I mean, those numbers for the entire league, history of the league, there's not many. So it's something to be very proud of, something that, I wonder if you look at it with fond memories, or do you wish you had do-overs, or do you wish that, you get another shot someday?
Well, but I also look at it with, I wish I had some do-overs, because there were some things now that I wish I would have done different. But at the same time, you said it. I mean, I did it, regardless of what the record was. To have that opportunity, I earned the right to be a two-time coach as a head coach in college. So I see that as success. There's a lot of people that don't have the ladder. So I'm fortunate, I'm blessed, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I'm looking forward to whatever else is out there. I'll be willing to look at it and take a strong peek at it.
Troy?
I looked at your schedule this year, and you have a lot of notable games. First off, September 17th, Jackson State. And you're going to be a part of your first Bayou Classic this year, November 26th at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Battle of the Bands. If anybody hasn't experienced that, I definitely think they should. Can you just talk about how excited you are for this season, not just for those things, but for your team as well? And can you talk about what kind of team you think you're going to have this year and that sort of thing?
I'm really excited about the season. It's right around the corner. We open at Arkansas State, which is we're being an FCS school. We kind of talked about the scholarship disparity there. FCS school is going to beat the FBS school. So we're going to Arkansas State with a chip on our shoulder, and we're looking forward to it. Just like every game we play, it's going to be a big game for us. We're going to take them one at everything we can to win each and every game we play. We understand there's some big ones, as you mentioned, Jackson, but every game we play here at Grambling State is so important to us, because we talked about it earlier. This is where the great Eddie Robinson coach, he left a legacy here, that greatest college coach, and what job do I have to get to be among the elite, and I'm excited about it.
And I'm excited to see this year. I mean, the college football has completely changed, Coach, and I wonder what your thoughts are about. Suddenly Pac-10s are going to Big Tens, and all these teams are moving, and it's like, is it good for football, or are we losing tradition? I mean, what the heck is happening to the college football landscape?
It's become a super conference, and also see it. As you just mentioned, the California teams that are now going to head out in 12. I mean, that just tells you right there that the landscape of college football has changed. But conferences are starting to be had because there's so much money in it. I hate to say it that way, but at the same time, we will lose a little of the tradition, because those great games that happen as often as they did. So somehow, some way, we want to keep it fun, right? But at the same time, everybody wants to make as much money as they can. And I think we're putting a tradition at this particular point in time.
Well, speaking of fun, we again appreciate all of our sponsors out there. Of course, Manscaped's support for the GSS show. They've got these amazing grooming products that we've been using that, it's really cool that we can talk about these kind of things in our day and age. And, we've got the crop preserver, and we've got, I turned it on. It's got the little light. Of course, when you turn it on, you can see all the stuff that you want to get below. But these products are great. And again, if you go to the website, manscaped.com, you get 20% off of your order. And this stuff is great. I've been using it. Troy's been using it. Hopefully our significant others appreciate how we smell. So as we wrap up, Coach, appreciate you taking some time today. What are you looking forward the most? Will you have butterflies? Will it be jittery like when you walk out onto that field leading that team for that first time this season?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'll be so excited and fired up, and on September 3rd against Arkansas State, and for the rest of the season. I do great to be in an environment with young men and watch them grow and get better. Know that you're contributing to them having success, and so that feels good. I'm looking forward to it. But I'm telling that freaking podium at the end of the year at the Celebration Bowl, you're going to be right up there. And I thank you for your support and everything you've done for me.
Well, that's awesome. And I think, hopefully the boosters will be there for you. And if there are bumps and burps, because I know the program the last couple of years went 0-4, and I think four wins last year. But, who are some of the surprises out of the gate that you've seen as far as, is it your quarterback? Is it your defense? Like if you're building around, what are the people going to be looking for this year for your team?
I think what they're going to be looking for is our lines. I think the emphasis of our football team in recruiting, our offensive line, defensive line, that's where we win games first. And then, we're going to have a good quarterback. But I think we're going to have tremendous defense. I think we're going to have good offensive play and good special teams play. So I'm excited about our football team, for 2 weeks as far as training camp's concerned. But we got a long way to go before we play. Thing to do to get ready for our first game.
Well, we'll be watching, and hopefully we can check in later in the year and see how you're doing. And I hope that we don't see each other once a year at the Super Bowl, that we can get together before that. But I know you're busy. You got to head out. You got to look at more films and get more recruits. And you did have I think the best recruiting class in Grambling's history, right? As far as who you got coming in?
Yeah. Yeah, class. Good class and a big class. And I think it's a class that's going to really start to touch me.
Well, unlike the NFL where you get free agents and things like that, is the transition from high school to college, is it more mental or more physical for these 18-year-olds?
I think it's both physical, because probably they were the best players at their school. They come here and maybe they're not the best player on the team. So there is definitely, and then they have to learn a different type of play. It is definitely mental and physical, but as soon as a guy finds out, and that's our job as coaching, so they can see their value, see their opportunity, and then let them go be who they.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your friendship. Troy, thank you for joining us today in the middle of your workday. This is Dave Stevens. We're going to let you go, Coach. Again, thank you for being a part of the Geary, Stein, and Stevens Show. You can find us on wherever you find podcasts, on Spotify and all those good things. And, of course, we're on all social media, all our websites, and all those good platforms. So for Dave Stevens, for Troy Geary, and Coach Hue Jackson, I'm going to take it out and go have some fun this weekend. We'll see you next week with more guests, more friends, and more people. Take care.
Thanks, you.